Introverted Intuition. How do I distill truth into palatable packages? Abraham Lincoln, who is believed to have been an ENTP, made the following interesting statement in a letter that he wrote in the 1800s. I apologize for the length of this letter. I didn't have time to write a short one. Which sounds crazy, right? But when we flow off the top of our head, we put in lots of ums and ers and long-winded statements. It's only a truly organized statement that can be short and brief and concise. That's what editing does, and that's what thinking in a linear and lateral fashion about your thoughts will do for you. It'll concisify, it will bring them simpler, it'll make them more concise, more straightforward. I study the journals of Nikola Tesla, the speeches of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the quotes of Hiram Ulysses Grant, the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche. Tesla always began from a viewpoint that it was unseparatable to talk about science and talk about creation. That all of science was a discovery of God's creation, and it was futile and selfish to do science that was not rooted in an improvement of mankind in some way. So I've tried to let my introverted intuition be formed from that theological perspective and that benefit perspective. JFK is an unbelievable example of that Lincoln style of writing. Beautiful ideas that might have been said in more long-winded fashion, simplified, honed until they were diamonds of verbal truth. Case in point, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. As simple and perfect as a poem, as a statement by Socrates or by Plato, as a simple, pure statement. And the simpler it is, the easier it is for someone to take it with them and move around with them. I used to work with a singer and songwriter who's an unbelievably gifted writer and teacher. I don't know if I should say his name, but he told me, you know what a hit song is, right? A hit song is a song anybody can sing in the shower. And so my head sort of exploded, like, oh, wow. That explains so many two-chord songs and like songs where the words get repeated over and over. And the ridiculous song Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter, which I believe is Rock and Roll Part 2. That's a 5-word song, which is only explained by that notion that singer-songwriter said to me. But JFK was making purified statements of truth that enabled your average person to understand it and move around with it. Grant was a major force in the eradication of slavery from North America. He may not have been a tremendous intellectual, but he believed one core thing that enabled him to win. If you want to win a war, you don't stop. You pick your goals and you advance them immediately. The truth is, you must keep fighting every day and every second for what you want. Your enemy is not going to put down their guard. You shouldn't either. Finally, Nietzsche is a tremendously misunderstandable man because he is associated with a nation that is associated with fascism. I think that it's possible to misinterpret him as a fascist philosopher, when what he said was, I want every individual to know what they want, to believe in something, to believe in themselves, to be autonomous and resolute. be brave. He made the following statement: be careful when you face into the darkness, because the darkness faces back. The INTJ mind is an endless, epistolary, and ongoing flowing river of thoughts. I am trying to condense a novel into a flawless quote. I want to give that quote to as many people as possible, as purely as possible. For this reason, I try to emulate the introverted intuition of psychometric role models like Nikola Tesla, like JFK, like President Hiram Ulysses Grant, and like Friedrich Nietzsche. Hopefully that's useful.